Heather Dawson. Well, this week, our spotlight shines on a city known for grand hotels, fine dining, high-end shopping, and the occasional celebrity encounter. Feel like a star as we take you to beautiful Beverly Hills with Lisa Cedillo.
Welcome to this spotlight on the beautiful and rich city of Beverly Hills. Today's first stop, Greystone Mansion. Beverly Hills. It's home to the most famous, wealthy, and powerful people in the world. Its city zip code became a household name in the 90s with the mega hit TV drama Beverly Hills 90210, produced by former resident, the late legendary Aaron Spelling. Merely 6 square miles in size, Beverly Hills is a small town, but for decades has been a must-see destination to tourists traveling to California. Rodeo Drive is one of the most exclusive and celebrated shopping streets ever, and home to famous designer boutiques like Gucci, Armani, Chanel, Valentino, and Christian Dior. The jewelry stores boast names like Cartier and Tiffany. Rodeo also houses the single most expensive store in the world, Bijan. Shopping here is by appointment only, and be ready to spend about $50,000 for a men's suit or $50 for a pair of socks. Ouch. And if your pocketbooks aren't that deep, department stores like Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus are nearby. And if you're in the mood for a beauty makeover, be sure to stop in at one of the city's plush salons like Jose Iber, where the stars come to get their signature looks for Hollywood's biggest events like the Oscars. For 4 decades, Jose Iber has been one of the most recognizable names in hairstyling. He has created trend-setting hairstyles for the likes of Liz Taylor, Cher, and Farrah Fawcett. And with Emmy season upon us, our very own Heather Dawson got the ultimate Iber treatment. From her golden locks to this fiery red new look, Heather and her hair are ready to rock any red carpet. Would you come here a lot?
We come here occasionally. We live close by. There's great produce and the flowers are wonderful, and it's just a great thing to do on Sunday mornings.
For a more local flavor, city residents can enjoy the Beverly Hills Farmers Market, open every Sunday, where they sell California's finest home fresh produce.
Since I've been here, it has grown somewhat. We've gotten in more farmers, a few more food vendors. Like I said, we had to move the market 2 years ago, and then I was able to set up the separate organic section, which people really like.
But one of Beverly Hills' best-kept treasures is the famous Greystone Mansion and Estate, to what was once the largest family estate in the history of the city. Welcome to Greystone Mansion. It was billed as a home by the Doheny family back in 1928, but now is owned by the city and open to the public to enjoy its beautiful surroundings all year round. From music in the mansion to high tea on the terrace and concerts in the courtyard, Greystone Park and Estate is a must-see in Beverly Hills. For this spotlight, I'm Lisa Cedillo.
Well, the best military in the world is about to become even more efficient, and the training is happening right here in California. Lessons from the War on Terror are the backbone of a new training program at Camp Pendleton. Soldiers are learning how to better identify a threat in a war zone. It's called Combat Hunter, teaching Marines to think and act like hunters to take out a terrorist before the threat becomes reality. Here's Tom Jordan.
A general store, greetings in the marketplace, games in the street, all the elements of a typical community in war-torn Iraq.
Shots fired, shots fired.
Including a surprise insurgent attack. But this is not Iraq, it's Camp Pendleton, and this is a new training program called Combat Hunter.
We liken it to nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide.
Greg is the combat specialist leading the Marine Corps' most recent innovation of combat training. The former police officer and his team bring a unique skill of observing, profiling, and tracking an enemy target from both city life and big game hunting to the battlefield.
flack is stuff that we add on to the scenario to make it interesting. It creates an atmosphere where each Marine is a better intel gatherer, a better observer, and definitely has the ability to pick out insurgents and terrorists out of any type of crowd. There we go. Turn down that street nice and slow.
His group of specially trained Marines are looking for certain behavior sets or domains that trigger a red flag.
The harder a person tries to conceal one of those domains, the more his human behavior characteristics will stick out.
In this scenario, Marines play Iraqi civilians in everyday Iraqi life: soccer, badminton, casual discussion, and the so-called hooligans, those deemed a high-risk priority. Every move, pattern, behavior being watched closely from as far away as 3,000 meters, where Marines with a trained eye are able to see a broader picture and a threat looming on the fringe of town. This man walking with a supposed limp, avoiding attention.
90% of hunting is finding what you're looking for. And then the last 10% is just engaging what you're looking for.
Colonel Fred Padilla says combat hunter training teaches Marines to find their enemies before their enemies strike, even in the confusing fog of war.
This helps to cut through some of that fog and friction, to enable Marines to understand their situation and make the right decisions.
In this exercise, behavior patterns indicate the hooligans here are just a distraction to a larger threat. Remember the man with a limp? Well, now he's attained his place as a sniper, positioned on a nearby rooftop.
3, 2, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
A big part of combat hunter training is understanding the Iraqi mindset. The difference between an innocent civilian and a probable threat is key.
Where is Mecca now? That direction. Okay, we pray that direction. We do not face each other as we are praying.
We have the missing piece here. We have real Iraqis who have been in Iraq, who've been in Iraqi military and worked side by side with the U.S. forces for the last 3-4 years. So it's more real.
We're not affecting the innocent civilians that are out there. We'll be better at doing that.
Okay, do me a favor, be on the move.
Greg believes this training is doing just that and helping to knock down a major foe, Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, because they've been faced with combat profiling over the last year, is failing miserably.
Welcome back to Coast. I'm Lisa Spalla. And the Kentucky Derby is a time-honored tradition with thrilling races, extravagant hats, mint juleps, and delicious Derby-inspired treats. And just in time for the big race, Chef Marisel Salazar is here to share ideas for Derby Day and any spring gathering. How do you create like a festive party? It looks festive over there.
Yeah, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You know, as a chef, I really love to get creative and crafty with my food, but as a hostess, creative and crafty with my designs and parties. So this is the Cricut Maker 4. It's twice as fast as previous models, and it can cut over 300 different materials, which is a big deal if you're in the Cricut world. It is absolutely incredible for crafting and customizing these Derby Day hats. Yes, we made these with the Cricut Maker 4, and it's really great for personalizing party favors and just adding a fun touch to spring decor. Cricut actually has this incredible app. It's called the Cricut Design Space Library. It's an easy-to-use app and it connects seamlessly to all Cricut machines. Absolutely incredible. It has over 1 million pictures, images, as well as licensed designs, so you can create, ideate, and craft with ease. You can find Cricut machines and the app at Cricut.com or at major retailers. I really, really love Natural Delights Medjool dates. I always have them in my fridge or my freezer. They're the perfect all-natural sugar alternative for Derby Day entertaining. Really great, really elevates recipes from simple to sophisticated, like this date compote with Vidalia onion, espresso, and coriander. It's umami, it's sweet, it's savory. The espresso really deepens those flavors, and coriander adds an herbal note. Dates are packed with essential vitamins, antioxidants, and sustainable energy, making them an ideal race day fuel that tastes good but keeps the energy going. Get Natural Delights products at your local grocery store or Amazon.com. I mean, I love spicing up traditional Derby Day fare, and with these zesty tahini date strips, this is the way to go. It's a fun and tasty way to spice up traditional Derby Day fare. They have a little bit of sweetness, spiciness, touch of salt, and they win the Triple Crown for flavor. Now, everybody loves a good grazing board, but this one is in the winner's circle. It features zesty tahini date strips for sweetness and spice, Spanish cured hams, and a mix of tropical fruits. This is actually stealing my spotlight right now, so I want to tell you about a Derby Day beverage. It's a Medjool date avocado margarita, and yes, I have both those recipes for you. For more information, visit tipsontv.com.
Thank you, Marisol, for Kentucky Derby party, festive, everything. I can't wait. For Coast to Coast, I'm Lisa Spalla.
Coming up, Wes Parker takes us to a California landmark that served as a set for Hollywood's biggest stars. And I don't just mean celebrities. Find out what I mean when we come back. Now we're taking you high into the hills of Hollywood to visit one of the most star-studded places in California. It's been a shooting location for tons of Hollywood blockbusters like Transformers, The Terminator, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, and most recently, Yes Man. But probably the most iconic film shot there was Rebel Without a Cause. And there's even a statue of the film's star, James Dean, located in front of this California landmark. Wes Parker brings you the latest edition of The Good Life at the Griffith Observatory.
Nestled atop Mount Hollywood, the Griffith Park Observatory reopened its doors in November 2006, after being closed for almost 4 years and undergoing a $93 million renovation.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Wes Parker for The Good Life. Today, on a gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, it's hot. The observatory, Griffith Park Observatory, is not opened yet, but as you can see, there's already a big crowd sitting in the shade on a weekday, waiting to get in and see this renovated, beautiful planetarium.
On weekday mornings, the observatory is open exclusively to 5th grade students from around the state, who receive free private tours. The doors open at noon for all other visitors, and at 10 a.m. on weekends. The good news is admission to the observatory is free, as it has been since it opened in 1935. Dr. Ed Krupp, an author and expert in the field of astronomy, has been director of the observatory since 1974.
Colonel Griffith went up to Mount Wilson, which had the largest telescope in the world at the time. It was the 60-inch then. Looked through that telescope and said if everybody could look through that telescope, it would change the world. Well, everybody couldn't look through that telescope, and so Griffith said, I'm going to build one that we can get everybody to look through. And so he had this notion of a public observatory. The idea being that for people to look with their own eyes at the universe was a transforming experience. And that's what we do. We turn visitors into observers.
The only thing we were not able to show you today is what Los Angeles looks like from here at night. There is no better viewing spot than right here, Griffith Park Observatory. So if you come to LA, make sure this is one of your stops in the evening. This is Wes Parker bringing you The Good Life.
Operation Varsity Blues was reported as one of the biggest college admissions scandals in history. Now, author John Wilson has written a new book called Varsity Blues, The Scandal Within the Scandal, that reveals the shocking tactics used by federal prosecutors that led to his false arrest and wrongful convictions. Welcome, John.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Can you tell us about the scandal and what was involved?
At its core, the scandal involved Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin, and many other rich and famous people in California who confessed ultimately to cheating on tests or bribing coaches or creating false profile for their kids who didn't even play a sport. We didn't do any of those things. Our children were all highly qualified on their own hard-earned merits.
So how was it that you were caught up in this then?
The confessed con man at the center of the scandal was named Rick Singer. He had 3,000 parent clients in this case. Only 1% of them was ever charged with a crime. 99% were wholesome accounts. I was the only parent of Singer's 3,000 that lived in Massachusetts. And the Boston-based prosecutors, when they first uncovered this case from an unrelated tip in Connecticut, needed one parent in Boston to be the hook to justify bringing all the trials for the Hollywood celebrities and others from California to Boston. So despite the amount of evidence that they had that proved my innocence, that didn't seem to matter.
Wow, okay. Can you share some examples of the overreach there?
The prosecutors did a couple things that were outrageous. First, at the beginning, they piled on 9 felony charges, 180 years of prison time to pressure me to plead guilty, all for just making a donation to the school. And when I refused, they railroaded me through a trial that was so outrageous and unfair, with a hand-picked judge who blocked 98% of my evidence, that the appeals court overturned all of our core convictions.
A lot to unpack there. Where can we find your book and read more about this and your experience?
The book is available in all bookstores online, including Amazon.com across the United States. There's also a website that has many more facts called thescandalwithinthescandal.com. And it's important for your viewers to know that all the proceeds from this book are going to charity. This is about getting the truth and our story out there.
Thank you, John, for sharing your story and for being here on Coast to Coast today. I'm Lisa Spalla. A new report reveals cybercrime continues to grow at an alarming rate, creating some serious threats to both businesses and consumers. Joining us here today is cybersecurity expert Chris Novak, who is sharing some shocking information from Verizon's annual data breach investigation report. Just first kind of tell us, what are the highlights of that report?
Yeah, so this year, the 18th year publishing the Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report. And, it's really a wake-up call to everybody. This year's report covers over 22,000 incidents and over 12,000 data breaches, spanning more than 139 countries, really kind of highlighting the fact that the cybersecurity concern is of a truly global nature. One of the key things that I'd say we really took out of the report this year was the impacts of things like third-party risk. The fact that a threat actor may not be coming right at your front door to hit you, but may very well be going through some form of third-party intermediary, whether it's a supplier, a vendor, or a partner. And then also I'd call out that for organizations like small and medium businesses, they had an oversized impact from things like ransomware, making up about 88% of the breaches that impacted them. So there's a lot to unpack there as it relates to the data in this year's report.
Wow, what can businesses and consumers do to protect all that information that they have?
So while there's no one-size-fits-all approach to security, one of the things that we strongly recommend is a layered approach or a defense-in-depth strategy, where you look at things like, how are you protecting your endpoints? How are you implementing a robust password policy? Using things like multi-factor authentication, those little codes we get to log in. And then also the other thing I'd be remiss if I didn't mention is, what are you doing to respond? Because when it comes to a cybersecurity attack, it's not a matter of if, but when. And so how you respond and how ready you are to respond may be one of the most important elements in terms of how well you're able to survive that attack and continue operating.
Wow, that's a lot to pack in. And I think, knowledge is key. So where can people get more information about all this?
The best resource is the report itself. I'd encourage people to download and review the report. You can get it at verizon.com/DBIR, like Data Breach Investigations Report.
Thank you so much, Chris, for all that information on cyber threats and how we can, learn more about it. I appreciate it. And for Coast to Coast, I'm Lisa Spalla.
While CES 2024 is not technically an auto show, the automotive industry makes up a giant part of the show's footprint. More than 600 exhibitors are here from the automotive space, including manufacturers, suppliers, startup companies, and more. Hyundai Mobis debuted their new Mobiond electric vehicle with its next-generation e-corner system motion technology. It enables the car to make sideways and diagonal motion, as well as pivot turns. Wow! I'm told each of the 4 wheels are individually controlled. Honda showed off 2 new concept vehicles, the Space Hub and the Saloon. The Japanese automaker announced it will launch the Honda Zero Series beginning in 2026. The Saloon is being called the flagship concept model of the new Honda Zero Series. It embodies the new thin, light, and wise approach. On the inside is an instrument panel with a human-machine interface for a seamless user interface. The Saloon features a low height and sporty styling. Meanwhile, the Space Hub was developed under the theme of augmenting people's daily lives. It offers a flexible space that accommodates what users want to do and becomes a hub that connects people, bringing you the best of Coast to Coast from CES 2024 in Las Vegas. I'm Jason Rasidlo reporting.
And that's it for us. If you missed any part of our show, go to our website. See you next time.